Hi, this is Dalton Hill, and I'm going to be talking about the different variations of AlphaSieve and how I implemented them with their individual interfaces. So for this, I had layout strategy, which was necessary for the DeltaSieve variant, because in DeltaSieve, um, I needed to have a different map that was built than AlphaSieve. So in this AlphaSieve layout, it had the basic map, but in DeltaSieve layout, I was able to create the more complex map. These both are implementations of this layout strategy interface. And in layout strategy, you can either get the tile layout, get each unit layout, red or blue, and then I also had the yellow unit and green unit just for placeholders, but these are not necessary for AlphaSieve. And then you can also get the city layout. So if you look in uh, DeltaSieve layout, for instance, you'll see that there's a different layout for red units and for blue units. And I decided to do it this way because um, I didn't know how else. I could do capital A, capital L, and capital S for red versus blue units. But like I said when I was talking about the layout strategy, this wouldn't work then if you had yellow units and green units. So if you wanted a different layout strategy that had other players in the game, you would have to refactor this code and change it from uh, being capital and lowercase to be this method anyway. So I opted to just have different arrays for red units and blue units. In the actual game implementation code, um, this layout strategy is loaded in as an argument to game implementation. And then this variable map type is the variable I used to basically define um, which delta sieve or alpha sieve uh, variation of the game I'm using. Well, then at the beginning of the code, I take the tile layout directly from that map type, and this delegation function of get tile layout in layout strategy is able to grab the tile layout in delta sieve layout, for instance. So down here, I have get tile layout, and it just sends that string of characters to game implementation. And then game implementation actually iterates through that string, going line by line and then character by character to see what uh, tile should be at that position on the map, and then defines that tile in the tiles variable, which was basically my memory storage for the tiles of the game. And then it does a similar thing for units and for cities. But as I said, units, there were two separate strings to store for red and then for blue. So I do the same thing. I have the delegation function, get red units, and then get blue units for the blue unit layout. And each one of those is iterated through together at the same time because I wanted to make sure that if a red unit and a blue unit were both defined at the same space across these two strings, it wouldn't know which unit to place then. So I needed to test for a blue character that was a period, which was my placeholder for no unit at a position. And if there was a blue dot or a period in the string, it means that a red unit is able to be placed there. So then I tested if there was a red character at one of those spaces. And if there is, then I specified what type of unit should be placed there. And then later on, I also tested for if there was not a period for the red character, which means that there was one of these archer, settler, or legion there. And if that is true, then I place the unit with a new unit implementation of, we're talking about player red, because this is the red team, and the unit type, which was stored here based on whichever letter piece should have been there. Then I do a similar thing for the blue units, but here I'm testing for a red character of period because that means there's no red unit there. And then if the blue character is A, S, or L, it specifies an archer, legion, or settler respectively. And then a similar thing happens where if one of these characters does exist and it's not a period, then the units for this one is placed and its owner is going to be blue because we're talking about blue units, and it's going to have the unit type specified here. For cities, it's a little bit easier because you only have one type of city for each player. So in my layout, I just had the letters B and R for red and blue. Um, and then I did a similar thing where I ran through the entire uh, array, or the entire string, I should say, and tested for each character. If it was R, then there was a red player there, and if it was B, then it's a blue player there. And if this city type by this stage has been overwritten by a player, then the game knows to put a player there, and it needs to or put a city there of that player. If this isn't true, and this city type never actually was defined, so for this it would have meant one of these periods, for instance, that means that there should not be a city there, so no city was found and null is in its place. Thank you.